Hi everybody, I'm Barrie Morganstein. Welcome to the Psych Mom Show. I'm super excited today for this episode of the Psych Mom Show because today is the first day where I have a member of the Mom Squad with me. And this is an amazing member of the Mom Squad. This is Dr. Terri James. She is an amazing psychologist and an amazing mom, and we're super lucky to have her here today. And the topic that we're going to be talking about is kindergarten readiness. And now is a really good time for us to be talking about kindergarten readiness because it's almost the spring, we're wrapping up winter. Lots of parents are getting their kids tested for kindergarten for the fall, and lots of parents are worrying, should my child go to kindergarten in the fall? Should I hold them back? What should I do? So let's talk about what is kindergarten readiness.
Okay. Well, first of all, I just want to tell you that I think the idea of the Mom Squad is awesome. I love the idea of getting practical advice from other women who can relate to what you're going through. So, love that. Okay, what is kindergarten readiness? Kindergarten readiness is basically the skills and behaviors that a child has and needs to be ready and successful in ongoing school. Personally, I have a 4-year-old who's finishing up in pre-K this year, my youngest, and who's going to kindergarten. So this is a really relevant topic, not just to lots of moms, but to me personally as well.
Wonderful. So what are some things that you personally and other moms and dads too should be thinking about in terms of kindergarten readiness? What are some key components that parents need to think about in terms of kindergarten readiness?
I think most parents tend to focus on whether their children are academically ready for kindergarten. Things like, do they know their ABCs? Can they count to 20? And what's really surprising is that these are actually not the most important factors according to a study done by the U.S. government. The U.S. government did a study through the Department of Education, and they polled all these teachers to find out what kindergarten teachers thought was the most important. And academic readiness was actually the last thing that teachers were ranking. They were talking more about whether your kids are well nourished and rested, if they are able to express their wants and their needs, and if they're able to follow social routines. Things like, can they follow the structure of the day?
That's really important because when you think about transitioning from preschool to kindergarten, the structure is going to be very different. In preschool, it's a lot more loose and every day is a little bit different, but in kindergarten, it's more structured and there's higher expectations.
Absolutely, and that's a really important point also, is that kindergarten today is really what preschool used to be. Because so many children now go to preschool, the expectations for kindergarten are much higher than they used to be. Kindergarten teachers and the kindergarten curriculum is really expecting children to be able to have fine motor skills, appropriate responses to social dilemmas, being able to express verbally their wants and their needs, even things like zipping up their own coats, putting on their own shoes, using the bathroom by themselves.
Absolutely.
These are really important skills in elementary school, and just because you're 5 by the cutoff date doesn't necessarily mean that your child's ready for them.
And just because you can recite the alphabet or count up to 20 doesn't mean your child is ready either.
Absolutely. And that's part of what we're trying to talk to parents about when we talk about kindergarten readiness, is that you have to think of your child, the whole child, physically, socially, emotionally, and intelligence. They all combine together to see if your child's ready for kindergarten.
Can you talk a little bit about emotional readiness? I know we talked about fine motor skills and gross motor skills and being able to use the restroom and interact with peers, so social development. Talk a little bit about emotional development and why that's so important for kindergarten.
Absolutely. When you are going into a class that has up to 20 children in it, sometimes more, you really need a child who has independent social skills, who's able to navigate the social atmosphere with peers, with teachers, and to be able to express to the teachers, Johnny did this to me, I need this. And that's a very important skill, and especially coming out of preschool where most of our classes are smaller. My daughter is one of 12 children with 2 to 3 teachers in that classroom.
My daughter is one of 10 with 2 teachers. Absolutely.
And a lot of preschools have those smaller ratios. When you go into, especially a public kindergarten, you're not going to necessarily have such small ratios. So you really need a child who's got that independent social skills, that they're able to navigate not only the academics, but express what they need, what they want, make themselves heard to a teacher and to their peers.
So I know this is what all the moms out there really want to know. How do you know when your child is ready for kindergarten? What do you look for? I know we talked about some specific topics and specific areas, but how do you really know when your child's ready?
I think your preschool teacher is the first place that you go. If your preschool teacher is saying to you, so ready, have a good year next year, you're pretty much good to go. Unless you're seeing something your teacher isn't, which is unusual.
If you get the stamp of approval from your teacher, you're probably good.
Right. If, on the other hand, your preschool teacher is saying to you, well, I'm not sure about X, Y, or Z, then those are the factors you want to look at. Certain things develop at different paces on different children, and you have to acknowledge that just like adults
Right.
who have certain skills, so do children. So some children might have slower, delayed motor skills, or they might have trouble holding a pencil, or they might not have as much language. And those are things you want to consider. Also socially, if they can't follow the routine, if they can't get along with peers, if they're extremely introverted and shy and not able to express themselves. Also, one of the biggest factors of kindergarten readiness is curiosity and enthusiasm about learning.
Right.
If your child doesn't have that enthusiasm, isn't eager, then an extra year of preschool may be something you'd want to consider. One of the services that we do offer parents is a kindergarten readiness assessment, where if they are kind of debating and they want some objective data, they can always have an assessment. I'm not saying that everybody needs that, but that's an option if the preschool teachers are suggesting that maybe you want to think about it. An assessment,
you need some more information.
An assessment can give you some more information.
That's great. That's really great to know. So I want to thank Dr. Terri James for telling us what is kindergarten readiness and how do we start recognizing the things that our kids know. Come back for part 2. We're going to talk about what's kindergarten readiness assessments and what kind of information that gives you, as well as what parents can do for their kids at home to help them get ready for kindergarten.